4 years ago, in the spring of 2019, it rained for nearly a month. Not occasionally, every single day. That Sunday, I stayed home, watching TV, listening to the rain hammer against the windows. It was the kind of night that made you grateful to be inside. Then, a knock at the door. Faint, barely audible over the storm. I opened it. Standing in the downpour was a man I had never seen before. Late 20s, soaked to the bone. Out here, strangers don't just appear. My house sits miles from the nearest town, miles from anything. He said he'd been camping in the woods nearby, said he ran into trouble, asked if he could stay the night. I felt sorry for him. I did. But something told me not to let him in. Instead, I offered him my phone, a call, a ride into town. That's all. He refused, so I told him, as kindly as I could, that he couldn't stay. He didn't argue, didn't say a word, just turned and walked away down the dirt road. I watched him go, until he stepped off the road and disappeared into the trees. Strange, but I let it go, went back to my TV, told myself it was nothing. Then, a few hours later, I saw the glow, orange, flickering, coming from the woods behind my house. I pulled back the curtain, a campfire, burning through the rain, beneath a large tree, and next to it, a figure, standing completely still. I couldn't tell if it was facing me or facing the darkness of the woods. Whispered. Something was wrong. I called the police. Knew it would take them at least an hour to arrive, but I needed someone, anyone, to know what was happening. I checked the window again. The fire was still burning, but the figure was gone. Then I heard them, footsteps, coming toward the house. I ran to the side window and saw him, moving along the edge of the property, slow and deliberate, holding a hunting rifle. My heart stopped as he turned the corner toward my front door. The whole house shook. He was hitting the door. I grabbed my handgun from the hallway closet and pressed my back against the wall, breathing, trying not to make a sound. The door panel nearly split. I had to make a choice before it became life or death. I fired a single shot toward the door frame. The sound was deafening, and then silence. Just the rain. No footsteps, no banging, no voice, nothing. 5 minutes passed before I dared look through the peephole. The porch was empty. In the mud below, I could see footprints, leading away. He had run. When the police finally arrived, they swept the area. Near where the campfire had been, they found something buried in the ground. A duffel bag, recently dug up. Inside, tools, the kind used to break into homes, or something far worse. The officers called it a burglary kit, maybe a murder kit. They said it had likely been buried there in advance, planted, waiting, which means the man who knocked on my door that night had been to my property before. He had stood in those woods, watching, planning, slow, final. They never found him, and I still live in the same house. Every day I wonder, is he watching again? Rain fades to silence.